Robbie Ash, Jim Durrett, Roderick Edmond,
Present.
Lloyd,
Present.
Roderick Farson,
Present.
Ryan Glover, Jerry Griffin,
Here.
Frida Hardage,
Here.
Alicia Ivy,
Present.
Russell McMurray, Al Pond,
Present.
Rita Scott,
Present.
Christopher Tomlinson, Thomas Worthy. Madam Chair, we have 8 board members present.
Oh, thank you very much. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes of the August 13th work session of the Board of Directors?
So moved by Rod Frierson.
Second, Griffin.
Do I have any abstentions? Do I have any no votes? The minutes are approved. The report from the chair is very short. I want to tell you about some upcoming meetings, and you can mark your calendars. The DeKalb County jurisdictional briefing is scheduled for September 15th at 10 a.m. So DeKalb County, mark your calendars for that. The committee meetings, we have an external relations committee scheduled for Thursday, September 17th at 10 a.m. And then we have our planning and capital, our operations and safety, and our business management regular scheduled meetings are Wednesday, September 30th at 9:30. Any other meetings that I need to call that I don't have on my list?
Madam Chair, I have a question. This is
Yes.
Rita. Will the DeKalb meeting be virtual?
As far as I know, yes, ma'am, it is virtual because it's listed on my calendar that way. I believe everyone's virtual except Clayton County is the only one that meets in person that I'm aware of. Am I right, Jeff?
Yeah, I have mine as on my calendar. It shows up as virtual as well, and that's how they've been holding their meetings. So yes, and we'll
And
make sure
I'll ask
that,
Ms. Peters to make sure, Ms.
yeah.
Scott, that they give you all the most current dial-in numbers or call-in numbers.
Okay, that'll be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to turn that over to Jeff for his General Manager CEO report.
Thank you, Chairwoman Hardage. Good afternoon to everyone. Have just a few items that I do want to go over. The first one is a proposal that was presented to the management at MARTA around hazard pay for our employees. I just want to take you through some of the details of this proposal. I have spoken to the ATU about this directly, and as you will see in my short presentation that I'm going to give you, it's sort of a unaffordable proposal, at least I believe it is, so did not believe that it merited coming to the board, but the only reason I did want to share this with you because I do believe that we are having some ongoing conversations, and I do believe that there probably is a likely a proposal forthcoming that will be more within the realm of possibilities. I don't have details on that. I've asked the HEU to go back to the drawing boards. They are. So there may be some future discussion about this that would need to come to the board. I do believe that the order of magnitude of this, of any sort of hazard pay would be something that we would need board approval for, and have the union members approve as well. So more to come on that. Could you advance to the next slide, please? Before we get into the details of the proposal, we really need to remind the board of, and you can go to the next slide, of our assumptions around where we are with our kind of long-term budget. This is a slide that Kevin had shared with the board back in April when he was talking about the CARES Act money as well as the 2021 budget. So while you may not remember the details of the exact numbers on here, it's important to remind you, and I know everybody knows, generally speaking, this is where we are. You know, the CARES Act funding has provided us a substantial lifeline that gets us out to, we think, about 2024, where we will have a very, very significant deficit if we don't do anything. And I assure everyone on the board that not doing anything is not an option. But this slide just shows sort of the financial predicament we're in without dealing with the shortfall. And our focus right now is around efficiencies, largely around the administrative side, and we're working on a whole lot of activities around that we'll be bringing back to the board. But as you can see, when we look out into the FY30 timeframe, we have a significant gap that I propose, I endeavor, I should say, to close, so that out in 2024, we wouldn't be in a position where we had this would amount to about a $70 million shortfall. So as you all know, you have my commitment that we as a management team are working to close that. And we will be bringing a lot more information to the board around that over the next year. Next slide. There was a proposal presented to us. Next slide. It was largely asking for halftime pay, an additional halftime. It's gone. An additional halftime pay for all of the hours that the HU members have worked, and that the hazard pay would be in effect during the period of emergency, which obviously started sometime in May and continues today. And I fully, unfortunately, I would not at all be surprised that if we go an entire year with having to operate under some sort of emergency period as this call for. And employees shall receive hazard pay for hours actually worked, not work. So very clear proposal. This was presented to us from the ATU. I'm of the opinion that if we were to do something with hazard pay, that although police officers are not part of the HEU, I do believe that we should include that group of our employees as part of any sort of hazard pay. They were included in the $500 hero pay that was given some months ago. And so whenever we brought a proposal back to the board, we would include them. Although the analysis that we're presenting doesn't include the cost, but I think generally speaking, the additional cost of police officers would be about 10% of any proposal that we had. So the next slide, please. We've done Kevin and his team have done a cost of the request so that we could understand it. Next slide, please. And so, like I said, this covers just the represented employees. From the time period from 3/1 to 6/30, it would cost $25 million. If this continued for a year, $76 million, and about 10% on top of that to cover police, and then just giving a point of reference, about $6 million a month is what this proposal would cost us for this represented employees. Next slide, please. Just to put that in context, we had a contract that the board approved and that the union ratified that went into effect a couple of years ago. When you look at an annualized cost of that negotiation and the financial impact to the authority, it averaged out to about $13 million a year, that impact. Whereas this would cost us about $76 million. And it's my position, not making any recommendations to the board. I'm just sharing with you my position that $76 million was just unaffordable and would have such a dire impact on our ability to close that gap in the later years that I just could not even consider this. I've shared that with the union leadership, and suspect that over the next couple of weeks we'll be having more conversations about other alternative proposals. So just a quick update about where we are with that, and it's really just to give you some information if anyone's asking you about where we stand with this, and sort of preview my expectation that we may be back to the board with a briefing and possibly some sort of action that may or may not come forward. So like I said, not asking the board to weigh in on this. I think the numbers speak for themselves, and we'll see where this goes. But I thought it was an important item to share with the board. So I'm going to pause there before we move to a presentation by Kevin to see if there's any questions that anyone has about this. I just will add that I'm very conscious and focused on the incredible work that our frontline staff have been doing during this incredible time. I'm still kind of take in some of the news that I've heard very, very recently at a federal level about things that have been said and how that impacted decisions that we've made along the way. I think we've made very, very strong decisions to protect our employees based on the information that we believed was accurate and true and following the CDC recommendations. So, I'm proud of what we've done, but I also recognize that we've got an incredible group of people, from bus operators, rail operators, police officers who've done a lot. And one of the things that we had hoped would come was that one of the federal bills included a pretty substantial funding for hero pay. It is my understanding that was passed and was part of the House Democrats' bill that they successfully passed. And as they moved to a compromise, it's my understanding that over the last, about a week ago, they removed that from their proposal that they're trying to reach a compromise of. So there is a very, very limited expectation that there might be some additional federal dollars specifically allocated for heroes pay, which would have included our employees. So any comments or questions anyone wants to ask me on this matter?
Anyone have any questions?
All right.
No questions?
I wanted to ask you, Jeff, this is Roberta. Good morning.
Sure. Hey, good morning.
I wanted to ask you to remind me who all was eligible for hero pay.
Virtually, I believe every single ATU member, 99.9% of that, and I'll get back to you if that's not accurate. So every ATU member received it. And then we included frontline police officers. And I believe that the level of supervision that works in the field, who are non-represented employees above our frontline employees, also received that. I could provide you an email that articulates, but that's generally what we did. So it was more than just the ATU membership, but they were the single largest group that received the money.
Okay.
And Jeff, I can confirm it was every ATU member,
okay.
Even folks like who were in the print shop were not on the front line, but still every represented employee
thanks,
received
Alyssa.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
All
There you
right,
go.
hearing none, I will turn it over to Kevin, who's got as we continue our conversation about our plan of financing and discussions around that. So Kevin, you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm good to go.
Thank
Tyreen,
you.
are you going to call up the presentation?
Yes, they're doing it now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
We can, Kevin, I can.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay, can everybody see that we're good to go? All right. This is a follow-up to the board work session presentation back in August about an opportunity to refund our 2012A series bonds. And so I briefed the board in August that we were going to go price this morning and bring pricing back to the board for your review and subsequent approval if the pricing turned out to be well at the board meeting following the work session. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So this morning at 10 o'clock, we took bids on the new Series 2020B. The par value of the series is $270.1 million. We're refunding the 2012A bonds. The term is 20 years, and it's a fixed rate series of bonds. Down there, we talk about bond amortization payments. They match the underlying useful life of the assets, which is exactly what we want to do. And we're not changing the refunding structure of the maturities, so we're leaving them the same as they were in the 2012. So we're confident that the structure of the bond debt service is how we want it to be, so we didn't have to do any restructuring. And then as far as the closing date, we plan on closing the transaction on September 24th. Next slide, please. So this morning, the bid results, we did a competitive bid at 10 o'clock. We received 6 bids. The winning bidder was Barclays Capital Incorporated with a total all-in cost rate of 2.45%. This is about 1.6% lower than the average rate on the prior bonds. The spread between the winning and the cover bid is the second bid, was 1/1600%, and this equated to actually about $5.8 million over the life of the bonds on a PV basis. If you go to the next slide, please. The highlights here, we're doing a taxable refunding. We haven't done that before, but it allows us to do it on an advanced basis. We refunded $250.8 million, and the savings associated with this on a net present value basis is about $32.2 million in debt service. And we're saving on average in our debt service $2 million a year. So this equates to about 12.8% of the debt service. So our hurdle rate is about 3%. So 12.8 is significantly higher than that. So we feel we had a good morning this morning in saving our taxpayers some money.
Kevin, can I interrupt you because I didn't want to steal your thunder, and when I introduced you, but I was chomping at the bit to say this. This is, I believe, extremely significant. We've just, competitively, at a time when we've got a lot of uncertainty in markets in front of us, and as I showed you on the slide that you've seen before, with a significant issue in front of us around our financing, we've just, under Kevin's leadership, and I really want to thank you, Kevin, and make sure that you know, I personally recognize you and your team. You know, we've now closed $2 million a year over the next 20 years. That's significant. And you know, it's things like this, many more things like this that will get us back to where we need to be once we've exhausted our CARES Act money. So I would be remiss not to personally thank you for working on this. You know, we're doing something that we normally don't do with a taxable refinancing, and just thank you so much for your leadership around this effort.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. That's what we do. So, so next slide, please. You know, so the next actions to actually put this into action are at the board meeting this afternoon is for the board to approve the resolution that I'll present for the issuance, sale, execution, and delivery of the 2020B series bonds. And I just like to point one thing out. You know, Jeff, you made a comment about how, you know, our fiscal health, we've tried to be very responsible and do a good job. That is very manifest in the credit ratings that we receive for these bonds. We maintained our credit rating of AA+ and AA2, where many transit properties are seeing serious declines in their credit ratings. So that's a testament for all the work that we've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years to right the ship and keep us in a good financial place. So you don't do that without the leadership that's supportive of it and a board that's supportive of it. So it's total team effort on this. So, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Kevin or Jeff?
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a good report. And
Absolutely.
I also commend Kevin and his staff for what they've done. It seems like we do this, we save millions every year. So that's good.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want to say, yeah, I really do appreciate it. You know, we've had these discussions in the committee meetings about this whole refinancing process and how we can save money, and this is just how it works. My question is this something that we can revisit? I mean, do we revisit this every year when it comes to looking at refinancing these taxable revenue?
Yes, sir. We're constantly looking at opportunities that are out there, and in fact, the next series already has individual maturities that are coming into line to do a potential refunding. So this is something that we watch, and as it gets more solidified, I will certainly be back to let the board know that this opportunity is out there, and we're going to try and move forward again. So definitely stuff I'll keep you in the loop on.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Kevin, Roberta here. I wanted to just ask you if we've had the opportunity to do business with Barclay before.
Ms. Abdul Salam, we had done business back. Barclays actually inherited some business from a bank that went out of business, and they bought their municipal underwriting. And so when we had commercial paper outstanding, Barclays wound up doing the remarketing on our commercial paper. But this is not a firm that usually is in our wheelhouse. So it's great to actually see a firm come in that typically does not go after MARTA bonds and came in with a very strong bid today.
I was asking, Barclay has a good reputation, you know, particularly my background with FDIC, and I think they acquired some really good assets during the closing of savings and loans and during that period of time too. I'm a little familiar, not very, but I think it's a good fit.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly when they bought into the commercial paper business on our side of the fence.
Kevin, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, comments?
We
Okay,
have,
Jeff, what's next?
we have one more item that I'm going to ask Liz O'Neill to talk about. This is a single source award that we talked about last week. This is the equipment that we need to install in our work environments in the air handling units. If you remember, Connie Krusek, I believe, did this presentation around some relatively minor modifications that will improve the air quality around COVID-19 and other air quality issues in our facilities. We do have an issue with the award that Liz will talk you through, and then we'll be asking the board to make a modification. So Liz, can you step the board through this outstanding issue?
Yes, thank you, Jeff. This is item number 5 on the agenda for today, which is the resolution authorizing the award of the single source contract for the needlepoint bipolar ionization. And as Jeff said, you had approved a resolution at last month's board meeting, which awarded that contract to an entity, GPS, which is Global Plasma Solutions. Global Plasma Solutions is the manufacturer of this equipment. However, and that is the single source that was the document regarding that single source award. However, the actual entity that we're going to contract with to perform the services, and which is the sole distributor of these Global Plasma Solutions filtrations, is Commercial Capital Group. And so the contract award should have been made to Control Group. And that is, the resolution clarifies that and authorizes the award to the correct entity, and then retracts the award to Global Plasma Solutions. So that is on today's agenda.
So do we have any questions or concerns about this? Both parties are aware and there's no issues?
Right, no, they're aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unless there's any questions about this item, the only other item that I was going to bring up was upcoming events. You covered those in your remarks, Chairwoman Hartage, and so with that, I will conclude my board work session report, and thank you for your attention. Turn it back to you.
Are there any other matters that need to come before the work session?
Frida, can I have just one moment?
Yes. Robert,
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to introduce the board to Chris Pinckney. Chris is an associate with the Townsend Lockett firm that has been our partner in representation of MARTA in a wide variety of matters in the public finance area, working with Kevin on the bond issues that we were just talking about, but also in several other areas. They teamed with us in 2015 when we first proposed to do this work, and Chris has joined the firm, and I've asked him to kind of step in and help advise on issues facing the board as they come up. And so I asked him to join the meeting by WebEx video here today so that y'all could meet Chris and say hello. And Madam Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. So is Chris on? There he is. There we go.
Perfect. Hi, nice to meet everyone. I'm excited to be joining and getting to learn more about the MARTA contracts and just engracing myself with everyone.
Well, welcome aboard, Chris. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, Chris. All right, welcome again.
Any other matters? Well, then we take a break, and am I correct that we sign back in at the same website and start our regular meeting at 1:30?
That's correct.
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, I'm confused. What time are we coming back? Anybody? Everybody?
We're coming back at 1:30.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Al, that's the first time we ever ended a work session early, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do.
I know it.
I didn't even need to get lunch ahead of time.
I know it.
So, gentlemen, just for the record, we are still streaming to the public on YouTube. Not a problem, just want to make you aware of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll take the sign down when the chairman comes back to let the public know that we've begun the regular board meeting.
Okay.
So I shouldn't say anything bad about you, correct?
You can say anything you would like, sir. It's just public record.
That's quite all right. I have nothing but good.
Need a brush. Brush you out a bit. Well, she figured that she's smart enough to do it. Well, let me turn off my phone.
Good afternoon. I'm Frida Hardage, Chairman of the MARTA Board of Directors, and I would like to call our September 10th board meeting to order. Can I ask Ms. Peters to call the roll?
Sure. Roberta Abdul Salam. Roberta Abdul Salam. Robbie Ash. Robbie Ash. Jim Doris. Roderick Edmond. Roderick Fyson.
Present.
Bill Floyd.
Present.
Ryan Glover. Jerry Griffin. Frida Hardage.
Present.
Alicia Ivy.
Present.
Roscoe McMurray.
Present.
Al Pond.
Present.
Rita Scott.
Present.
Christopher Tomlinson. Thomas Worthy.
Present.
Madam Chair, we have 11 board members present.
And this is Robbie Ash. I'm now present as well.
Roberta Abdul Salam is present.
I'm present also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. O'Neill, do we have public comment today?
Yes, Chair Hardage, we received 3 public comments. The comments are from Ed Williams, Ron Shakir, and Sherry B. Williams, and they will be attached to the board package and made part of the minutes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the August 13th, 2020 meeting of the MARTA Board of Directors?
So moved.
Second, Alpine.
Do we have any abstentions? And do we have any noes? The minutes are approved. Dr. Edmond, may we have the report from the Planning and Capital Programs Committee?
Yes, you may, Madam Chair. The Planning and Capital Programs Committee met on August 27, 2020. I want to thank my co-chairman, Mayor Floyd, for basically doing the yeoman's work of leading that meeting. We approved the following resolutions. There was a resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for the procurement of traction powered substation system replacement program, RFP P46666. We also passed a resolution authorizing the modification and contractual authorization for the purchase of additional licenses for Oracle Primavera P6 Cloud Service, Primavera Unifier Cloud Service, and Professional Consulting Services, RFP P43333. I respectfully request approval of these resolutions.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that Ms. Ivy?
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am. Yes.
This was Robbie Ash. I moved.
Robbie Ash moved, Ms. Ivy second. Do we have any abstentions? And do we have anyone voting no? So this committee report is approved. Thank you, Dr. Edmond.
All right, this concludes my report. Thank you.
Next, we have the Operations and Safety Committee, Mr. Griffin.
I want to thank Ms. Ivy for filling in for me at the committee meeting that I missed. But Madam Chair, the Operations and Safety Committee met on August 27th, 2020 and approved the following resolutions. Resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of bus midlife overhaul parts kits, B44897. B, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the purchase of 6 zero-emission buses. C, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the consulting services for the zero emission bus program letter of agreement, LOA L47273, and resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of pest control services for MARTA vehicles, B45467. I request approval of these resolutions.
Do we have a motion?
Move for approval, Alpine.
Second by
Second.
Rod Frierson.
Mr. Frierson, thank you. Any abstentions? Do you have any noes? Those are approved. Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
The committee received the following briefing: zero emission buses. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you. And now I ask Rod Frierson to bring us the Business Management Committee report.
Madam Chair, the Business Management Committee met on August the 27th, 2020, and approved the following resolutions. Resolution authorizing a modification in a contractual authorization for the OutSystem software, RFP P42834. Resolution B, a resolution authorizing the validation of the sales tax revenue bonds in an aggregate not to exceed $800 million and incorporating the City of Atlanta's half-cent penny in one or more series. I request approval of these resolutions.
We have a motion.
I move approval. Griffin.
Second,
Ivy.
Roberta.
Ms. Ivy and Ms. Roberta both seconded. Are there any no votes? Do we have any abstentions? They are approved.
Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Frierson. Ms. O'Neill, you have a resolution that you would like to get authorized for the award of a single source contract for the procurement of a.
Yes, Chair Barnett, I would request approval of a resolution authorizing the an award for needle point, bipolar needle point ionization. I'm trying to find that contract number.
It's RFP P47269.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
For to the award to Consumer Central Devices.
Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Rod Frierson, so move.
Okay, Ms. Salam was first and Mr. Frierson seconded.
Second.
Do we have any abstentions? Do we have any no votes? It's approved. Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Now, Mr. Hurley has a resolution authorizing sales tax revenue bonds.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Ms. Hardage, members of the MARTA Board of Directors, and Mr. Parker. Prior to this meeting at the board work session, I presented the bid results for the refunding series 2020B taxable bonds. This transaction refunds approximately $250.7 million of the series 2012A bonds at a lower interest rate and results in a reduction in the amount of interest MARTA has to pay on its debt. MARTA posted the notice of sale and preliminary official statement online on August 31st, 2020. We received 6 competitive bids this morning, with the winning bid being submitted by Barclays Capital Incorporated at a total all-in cost rate of 2.4%. The interest rate reduction is approximately 1.6% lower than the prior series of bonds and saves MARTA in excess of $32.2 million or 12.8% in present value debt service savings over the life of the bonds. The bonds are rated AA+ by Standard & Poor's and AA2 by Moody's. The 2020B series will be issued pursuant to this resolution in accordance with the terms, covenants, restrictions, and provisions of the third bond trust indenture. Adoption of this resolution will approve the issuance, sale, execution, delivery, and payment for the refunding Series 2020B taxable sales tax revenue bonds. At this time, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Worthy seconds.
Roberta,
So Ms. Roberta moved and Worthy seconds. Is there anyone that abstains from this vote? Are there any noes to this vote? The resolution is approved. Thank you, Mr. Hurley, to you and your team for the hard work you did on this. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do we have any other matters that need to come before the Board of Directors today? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
thank you. Thank you. Everyone have a great day now.
All
You
right.
too.
You too. Thank you.